While cleaning guns, she discovered an incredible talent. Watch her unexpected 3,800-meter shot. The sun had yet to rise when Emma's day began. The cold winter air nipped at her fingers as she brewed coffee at the diner, her hands moving with the rhythm of a well-rehearsed dance. Each cup served was more than just coffee. It was a lifeline to her neighbors, who shared hopes and dreams as easily as they shared gossip. But today, she was facing a daunting reality. Emma was a single mother, pouring every ounce of herself into her 2 jobs to give Lily the life she dreamed of, an artist's life filled with color and wonder. After the diner closed, Emma headed to the hardware store, its shelves dusty, much like her grandfather's garage that awaited her. She avoided that garage since the day he passed. Memories flooded back like waves crashing against the shore, and yet, necessity pushed her forward. She had to clean his old collection of rifles, a blend of nostalgia and duty weighing heavily on her chest. As Emma dusted each rifle, her fingers brushed against the cool, unforgiving metal. She remembered her grandfather's stories, how he fought with pride for their country. Then, still caught in memory, she accidentally pressed a trigger. The shot rang out, echoing through the garage like an awakening. Surprised by the clarity, she steadied herself, lifting the rifle again. Aim, breathe, and fire. Each shot improved. The thrill coursed through her, igniting a fire she thought extinguished forever. She had discovered a hidden talent, yet with that, rolled in caution. A woman shooting with such skill in their town that sparked whispers all around. Emma returned to town, those neighbors' shadows now feeling judgmental. They eyed her with skepticism at the diner, murmurs buzzing louder than the coffee machine. What is she trying to prove? Some dismissed her with a scoff, but deep down, they were intrigued. But who was she to challenge tradition, to break molds perfectly blended into the fabric of their small community? Just as bills piled up and working hours dwindled, Emma found herself at a crossroads. The hardware store was struggling, her paycheck barely covering rent and food. With urgency kindling her spirit, she took a leap and joined the local shooting club. She felt alive, empowered, but how would the town receive her newfound ambition? Would they truly support her, or would they push her away? Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Days turned into weeks, her passion blossoming even as the glares intensified. Emma made the decision to participate in that high-stakes shooting competition, ignoring the voice of doubt that whispered fear and failure in her ear. The weight of her grandfather's legacy rested on her shoulders, and so did the love for Lily, who needed her to fight for their future. The day of the competition arrived, the atmosphere crackling with tension. Emma stood on that field, her heart racing as the crowd of skeptics watched. With one final deep breath, she aimed. The rifle felt a part of her, the moment wrapped in silence until it shattered with the gunfire. The world fell away as she released the bullet, hitting an incredible distance of 3,800 meters. Applause filled the air, but amongst it, she sensed the skeptical glances lingering. Had she really changed their perceptions, or would the battle continue even now? Emma held the weight of the crowd's uncertainty in her hands, knowing deep down that the hardest part of her journey was just beginning. The echo of applause still rang in Emma's ears as she left the competition grounds, heart pounding and mind racing. She'd shocked the crowd, sure, but could she hold on to that moment? Each step away from the field felt heavier, laden with doubt. There was a fine line between admiration and skepticism, and she could feel it pulling taut around her. Back in the diner, the atmosphere was different. The regulars sat at their booths, some flicking glances her way while trying to appear nonchalant. The whispers that once buzzed were replaced by an uneasy silence and energy thick enough to cut through. Emma wiped down the counter deliberately, avoiding the eyes she felt boring into her back. She knew they were talking about her, and a tremor of anxiety slid through her. "Hey, Emma," came a familiar voice, breaking the tension. It was Tom, one of her regulars, his kind smile a sweet relief. "Saw you out there today. You really nailed that shot. Big deal. Thanks, she replied, her heart warming. But it was a cautious warmth. What did it mean for Tom, for the others? I heard some folks saying they want you to teach them, he added, leaning in conspiratorially. His genuine excitement broke her facade of self-doubt. Just a bit. Teach. Me? Emma almost laughed at the absurdity. For years, she had been the one learning, the daughter of a soldier, now turned accidental sharpshooter. But the thought of being a teacher did something funny in her stomach. Could she really embrace this side of herself? Why not? Tom shrugged, shrugging off the weight of the world that sat on her shoulders. You proved yourself today. The town could use someone like you. You have a gift. And who knows? Maybe it'll inspire more kids, more women. You could start something. Emma considered that. She had held the rifle with a sense of purpose, but could that connect with others? Could she forge a community rather than invite judgment? A thrill of possibility buzzed in her veins, but still, the fear lingered. Before she could respond, a sharp voice sliced through the diner. What is all this about? Emma teaching shooting? It was Margaret, the town's self-appointed gatekeeper, arms crossed. Just an idea, Margaret, Tom replied, visibly bracing for a fight. A woman running a shooting class? You think that's a good role model for the kids? Emma felt the heat rise to her cheeks. Hadn't she already proven herself on that field? Yet, doubt crept back in, pervading the small victories she had gathered. The sting of that question broke her confidence like glass. Why not? She finally spoke, surprising herself. There's no reason I can't help others. Margaret raised an eyebrow, but Tom smiled proudly. Emma turned back to the diner, searching for support in familiar faces. The murmurs that had once felt so harsh now swirled with uncertainty, but also faint interest. She felt the tide beginning to shift, tiny but notable. She could be part of a larger change, challenge perceptions one at a time. As she continued to clean tables, the idea lingered. She may be just a single mother with a past and a talent, but now she could forge a different future not just for herself, but for others. What if she hosted a community meeting? What if she opened up her heart and her grandfather's legacy to them? There was an ember of determination igniting within her. Just as that thought took root, the door chimed, and a man stepped in, his face those of curiosity and respect. Excuse me, he said with a smile, pulling everyone's gaze to him. Is this the famous Emma that shot 3,800 meters? Emma turned, excitement and dread swirling in her chest. She was ready to embrace whatever came next, but did she truly have what it takes to lead? Would this stranger's intention change everything? Emma felt her heart leap as she assessed the man standing in the doorway. He was tall, with an easy smile and eyes that seemed to twinkle with mischief. The questions swirling in her mind crashed against one another, leaving her momentarily speechless. How did he know her? The faint buzz of the diner faded into the background, all attention gravitating towards this unexpected arrival. Yes, that's me, she managed, trying to sound confident, though her voice trembled just slightly. Ethan, he introduced himself, extending a hand. I saw your performance today. Incredible shot. I represent a local youth program that's looking for someone to teach marksmanship skills. You'd be perfect. The weight of his words hit her like a ton of bricks. Teach. Again? This time, it felt different. This was a program, something structured, backed by a community initiative. Could she really do it? Teaching kids how to shoot? Margaret's voice broke through Emma's reverie, sharper than ever. That's exactly what we need, a woman with a gun teaching our children. What kind of example is that? Emma's pulse quickened. It's not just about the shooting, Margaret. It's about confidence, focus, and discipline. These kids need role models. I could help them find their strength just like I did. Margaret scoffed, crossing her arms tighter. Alternate strengths, I suppose. Ethan's gaze remained steady, unfazed by Margaret's disdain. He turned to Emma again. You have a way with them. I saw it out there. You could show them that it's not about the gun, but the mindset that comes with it. As Emma looked around the diner, she caught snippets of conversation. Some regulars nodded, their expressions shifting from skepticism to intrigue. A few even whispered among themselves, eyes flickering back to her as if searching for the truth behind her new identity. Think about it, Ethan continued, his voice smooth and encouraging. You could change lives, inspire hope. The world needs more women like you in leadership roles. You already have the skills, now you can teach them. A spark ignited inside her. Could she really take this leap? The thought terrified her, yet it also thrilled her in a way she hadn't felt before. I need time to think about it, Emma said, trying to maintain her composure. Even so, her heart raced at the possibilities of being a guide for someone else, of taking her lineage forward. Absolutely, Ethan replied, a glint of encouragement in his eye. We're having a meeting to discuss the program further tomorrow evening. You should come. As the door chimed again and some customers exited, Margaret muttered under her breath, but Emma's focus was elsewhere. This was bigger than just a shooting class. It was a chance to redefine herself, to reshape what people thought of her. Yeah, I'll think about it, she echoed, her voice steadier now, but as the comforting bustle of the diner resumed, doubt sprung forth again. Could she really define what it meant to be a role model? The thought kept gnawing at her. And what if she wasn't enough? With every passing moment, uncertainty began to meld with excitement. Emma wiped the counter for the umpteenth time, but her hands trembled. Change was coming, and her heart danced with a mix of fear and anticipation. The evening shifted into night, but the anxiety lingered like the sweet scent of pancakes in the air. She glanced at the small mirror behind the counter and whispered to her reflection, "Tomorrow, I have to choose." Would she embrace this new role, or would the fear of failure cause her to retreat? As thoughts swirled in her mind, one question stood out, clear and unwavering. What would happen if she said yes? Could she become the leader she never thought she could be? The morning sun broke through the diner's windows, casting warm light over the sticky tables. Emma stood behind the counter, preparing for another busy day. The rhythm of the diner was comforting, a rhythm she knew well. But today, everything felt different. She couldn't shake the conversation with Ethan from her mind. Ready for another day, superstar? Margaret's voice pulled her back to the moment. A hint of sarcasm seeped through, but Emma didn't let it faze her. I'm ready, Emma replied, a new determination bubbling inside her. As she brewed coffee, the regulars drifted in, greeting her with smiles. But today, those smiles felt heavy with expectation. She could almost sense them whispering behind her back, watching, waiting to see if she'd make that leap. Did you hear about the meeting? One of the customers, a man named Frank, called out. You should go, Emma. It could really change things. The room quieted as everyone turned their attention to her. They were rooting for her, and that realization stirred something deep within. For so long, she'd hidden away, afraid of taking risks, afraid of what people would think. I'm thinking about it, she said, trying to sound casual. Thinking's good, but action's better. Frank winked, and the group burst into light laughter. Emma smiled alongside them, but her heart raced. How could she expect to lead when she felt so unsure? Throughout the day, moments of clarity began to punctuate her doubts. Each stack of dishes, each pour of coffee, and each laugh shared over meals felt like a reminder that she was capable, that she had something to offer. When her shift finally ended, Emma sank into a booth in the corner, her body heavy with fatigue. She pulled out her phone and stared at the glowing screen. The invitation to the meeting flashed in front of her, a flicker of hope amid her swirling thoughts. Just as she was about to put the phone down, a text notification vibrated through. It was Ethan. Hey, Emma. Just wanted to check in and see if you'd made a decision. They'd love to meet you tomorrow. Think it over. You've got this. She let out a shaky breath. So many expectations weighed on her shoulders, but perhaps this was what she needed. Emma needed to see what she was made of, to step out of the shadows of doubt and into the light. She closed her eyes for a moment, picturing the kids she could teach, imagining their eyes lighting up as they learned to focus, to aim, and to find their confidence in a world that often seemed to expect so little from them. With renewed spirit, she thumbed a reply. I'll be there. After hitting send, she felt lighter, almost buoyant. Could this really happen? Would they see her for who she wanted to be, rather than what she had been? As she stepped outside, the cool evening air washed over her like a gentle reminder that change was in the air. But as she turned the corner toward home, a shadow crossed her path. Margaret's disapproving gaze bore down on her again. What do you think you're doing? Margaret said, blocking her way. Chasing dreams? You think that LL solve anything in this town? Emma's heart raced as she faced Margaret. Doubt crept back in, but she squared her shoulders. It's not just about dreams. It's about inspiring others. The tension hung thick in the air. For a moment, time stood still as they stared each other down. Would she back down or stand firm in her choice? In that instant, Emma realized that saying yes to this opportunity meant confronting not just her fears, but the skeptics around her, too. In the quiet of the evening, as stars began to twinkle above, she whispered to herself with conviction, "Tomorrow is just the beginning." But before she could walk away, Margaret's voice stopped her. "Just remember, those kids will look at you. Make sure you can give them something worth believing in." Would Emma rise to the occasion, or was she destined to retreat once more? A shiver of excitement coursed through her. The answer loomed close, just out of reach. Emma walked the rest of the way home, the cool breeze swirling around her as her heart pounded in her chest. The exchange with Margaret played on repeat in her mind. The weight of those words hung heavy and sharp, but they sparked something within her too, a fierce flame of determination. That night, sleep eluded Emma. Every time she closed her eyes, she envisioned the meeting, the faces of the people she might inspire, the kids who might look up to her as a mentor. It was exhilarating, terrifying. How could she possibly be that person? What if she failed? Morning came too quickly. Sunlight streamed into her room, illuminating the chaos of crumpled clothes and books scattered across the floor. Emma made herself a quick breakfast, her stomach in knots. She caught a glance of herself in the mirror and took a long look. "You can do this," she whispered, straightening her back. As she walked to the diner one last time before the meeting, she decided to swing by the park. The familiar sights stirred a sense of warmth and calm in her. Kids were playing on the swings, their laughter echoing like music in the air. Emma paused for a moment, letting the joy of their innocence wash over her. Maybe this was enough reason to fight off her fears. "Hey, Emma," a voice called out. It was Lucas, one of the kids she used to tutor. He raced over, a big grin plastered on his face. "Are you going to help us again?" Emma's heart swelled. "I hope so, buddy. I'm working on something big." "Cool. You can teach me to shoot the basketball better," he exclaimed. "Yeah, we can definitely work on that. Just keep your eyes on the hoop, all right?" They shared a laugh, and Emma felt a new surge of confidence. A sense of purpose filled her chest, far greater than just herself. Once back at the diner, she found Margaret already behind the counter, her expression unreadable. Distractedly arranging cups, Margaret's fingers moved quickly but not effortlessly. "You're here early," Emma said, trying to keep her tone light. "Just checking on things," Margaret muttered, her focus still on the cups. Emma fidgeted. "So, about the meeting," Margaret picked up her gaze, eyes sharp. "You didn't back down, did you? Because as I said, those kids will be watching." Emma swallowed hard. "I'm ready to take a step forward, not just for me, but for them." Margaret's silence was heavy, and Emma could feel a battle of emotions simmering just beneath the surface. Finally, Margaret sighed, her walls cracking a little. "Just remember, it's not easy out there. Make sure you really want this." Emma nodded, the fire inside her rekindled. "I do. I need to believe I can make a difference." Margaret hesitated, then finally offered a slight nod. "Good. You'll need that belief." As the clock ticked closer to the meeting time, Emma's nerves kicked in again. She had dreams. She had hopes. And now, she needed to act on them. When she walked away from the diner and toward the meeting, every step felt significant. She thought of the kids like Lucas, the way their faces lit up when they learned something new. Could she really create that spark for them? Just as she reached the meeting place, she took a deep breath. Her heart was racing, and doubts crept back in, but she pushed through, forcing herself forward. But before she could even step inside, she caught sight of Ethan waiting by the entrance. He looked so different than she remembered, more mature, more confident. Just as he turned to see her, the expression on his face shifted to something unreadable. "Emma," he greeted, a hint of surprise in his voice. "Hey, I'm here," she stammered, heart pounding louder than ever. And in that moment, standing on the threshold of everything she had ever wished for, Emma felt a new wave of uncertainty crash over her. Would this be the moment she could finally embrace her future? Or would she retreat again, letting fear pull her back into the shadows? As the doors opened, she took a tentative step forward, uncertainty and hope colliding within. What she didn't expect was for that step to change everything. Emma stood at the entrance, her heart hammering like a drum against her ribcage. She felt as if the world had narrowed down to just her and Ethan, a connection that pulled at something deep inside her. It was a warm gaze, but underneath it lay questions she wasn't sure she could answer. "Are you ready?" Ethan asked, the sincerity in his voice somehow calming the storm swirling within her. She took a breath, remembering the laughter of the kids at the park, their trust in her. "I think so. I want to be," she said, her voice steadier than she felt. Ethan opened the door wider, letting the warm glow of the meeting room spill into the hallway. As she stepped inside, the space buzzed with low conversations and soft laughter. A long table filled with chairs had been set up in the center, an array of faces, some excited, some anxious, turned toward her. Each person was a potential ally or a challenge, each with their own dreams and hopes. "Everyone, this is Emma," Ethan called out, and Emma felt a rush of color to her cheeks as all eyes turned toward her. "Hi there," she managed to say, her voice slightly higher than usual. A few nods and smiles greeted her, but she could also see skepticism. It made her heart race. As she took a seat, Emma caught a glimpse of the agenda on the table. Topics she had read about, discussions that made her ache with longing. Mentorship programs for youth, resources for community improvement. It was all there, a vision she could barely grasp but desperately wanted to be part of. "What brings you to our meeting?" a woman with curly hair and bright eyes asked. Emma hesitated, feeling vulnerable under their scrutiny, yet she forged ahead. "I believe in making a difference for our kids. I used to tutor, and I want to expand that into something larger." She felt a surge of courage with every word. "I want to inspire them, show them they can be anything they dream of." A soft murmur rippled through the room. The woman smiled. "That's inspiring, Emma. We need that fire." Suddenly, Ethan chimed in. "I actually have a lead on a project starting next month that focuses on youth empowerment. We could really use someone like you." Emma's heart leaped at the mention of a project. This was where she could pour all that uncertainty into action. What kind of project? As Ethan explained their plans, her thoughts raced. They would work with kids in schools, organizing workshops that offered creative outlets and team sports. The very ideas she'd hoped for, they were discussing right then. The meeting moved forward, but Emma's mind buzzed. With each plan shared, she could envision herself guiding a team, teaching kids to shoot basketballs, helping them craft stories, turning their dreams into something tangible. Yet, at the same time, a flicker of doubt crept in. What if she stumbled? What if her efforts weren't enough? She clenched her fists, choosing to focus on what she could give rather than what could go wrong. Hours passed in a blur. The energy in the room was infectious, and Emma could feel her initial hesitation melting away. When the meeting finally wrapped up, the air felt thick with possibility. She had connected with people who shared her vision, and for the first time in a long while, she felt like she was part of something meaningful. As heads began to turn toward the door, Emma felt Ethan lean close again. "That was great, Emma. I think you have a real gift for this." She smiled, a sense of pride blooming within her. "Thanks. I just want to make a difference." But as she stepped outside, breathing the cool air, a shadow crossed her mind. What if her past insecurities resurfaced the moment she stepped into the spotlight? Would the flame she felt today stick around? Turning to Ethan, she caught his gaze. "So, about that project, can we do it together?" The surprised look on his face quickly shifted to a smile. "Of course. We can figure it out as a team." With his reassuring presence beside her, Emma felt that fire rekindle. But just as she started envisioning their potential, an unexpected call behind her made them both stop. "Emma, wait up." When she turned, the sight of Lucas sprinting toward her made her heart skip. What could he want? And why did it feel like another turning point was just around the corner? "Lucas!" she exclaimed, curiosity piqued. "What is up?" As he skidded to a halt, breathless and excited, Emma felt her heart beat faster, already anticipating the news he might share. Would this bring more challenges or new possibilities? Lucas finally reached her, hunched slightly, his eyes shining with enthusiasm. "You wouldn't believe what just happened. I was at the park with Sam, and we ran into Mrs. Collins," he puffed, still catching his breath. Emma felt a ripple of curiosity in her chest. Mrs. Collins was the community center director, and if she was involved, things could get interesting. "What did she say?" Emma pressed, her interest piqued. "She wants to launch a summer program. Something to get kids involved in the arts and sports stuff we've talked about." Lucas exclaimed, his excitement contagious. Emma's mind raced. The huge gap in her past experiences suddenly felt less daunting with this chance on the horizon. That is amazing. But how does that involve us? She asked, scanning his face for more details. Lucas grinned widely. She knows what you two are planning. She thinks you'd be perfect for it. And she wants you to help lead the workshops. He beamed as if he had just declared a winning lottery ticket. Emma's heart leaped again. This was what she wanted, an opportunity to be directly involved in the community, to influence lives in a way that set hearts on fire. But beneath that thrilling rush, a sliver of fear crept in. Me? Lead the workshops? Absolutely. Lucas exclaimed, waving his arms as if to encompass their collective vision. You have a gift, Emma. Remember what you said earlier? You can make a difference. This is your chance to do just that. Ethan stepped closer, nudging her gently back toward their conversation. With Lucas's help and the Center's resources, you can definitely make it happen. This is your moment, Emma. As doubt started to creep in again, Emma focused on the warmth from Ethan's voice. Okay, let us do it, she said, surprised by her own conviction. Lucas chuckled, clapping his hands together. Awesome. We should meet with Mrs. Collins tomorrow and discuss the details. The kids are going to love this. Emma nodded, excitement flaring as her thoughts raced through the possibilities that lay ahead. But a small question lingered. What if the pressure got to her? Could she rise to the occasion? Are you sure we can handle this? She asked, her voice softer now, the excitement tempered by her worries. Of course we can, Lucas said, placing a reassuring hand on her shoulder. We'll make it work together. Just think of all the kids who could benefit from your ideas and passion. As they stood there, possibilities swirling around her, Emma felt the weight of something bigger than herself beginning to press down, filling her heart with hope. It was no longer about merely stepping into a role. It was about leading, about taking charge of her fears and turning them into motivation. Suddenly, Lucas's expression changed, his eyes darting over her shoulder. Hey, isn't that Mrs. Collins? Emma turned just in time to see Mrs. Collins approaching from across the park. The glimpse of her polished demeanor radiated authority. Emma felt the rush of nerves, but also a jolt of energy. What if this became the moment she had long waited for? Emma, can we talk? Mrs. Collins called out, urgency in her voice. Emma exchanged wide-eyed glances with Ethan and Lucas. They were all in this together, and now it felt like they were on the edge of a brand new adventure. But beneath the excitement lay an underlying fear. What would Mrs. Collins ask of her? As they stepped forward to greet the director, Emma realized this was more than just a conversation. It was the beginning of something transformative, something that could redefine her path. What challenge lay ahead? Let us see what she has to say, Ethan encouraged, tightening his grip on her arm as they approached Mrs. Collins, drawing her into the unknown together. With her heart racing, Emma took a deep breath and stepped forward. What unexpected responsibility awaited her next? Mrs. Collins looked at Emma with a mixture of warmth and determination in her eyes. I'm glad to see you all here. Emma, I wanted to talk to you about this summer program and how we can ensure it is a success. Emma nodded, the weight of Mrs. Collins' gaze grounding her. I'm excited about it, she said, and felt the sincerity of her own words. Fantastic. But first, I need you to understand that leading workshops comes with a great deal of responsibility, Mrs. Collins continued, her tone serious. We want to inspire these kids, help them express themselves and discover their potentials, and I believe you can lead that charge. Ethan stepped forward, always the supportive presence. Emma will give it everything she has, he asserted confidently. I appreciate that, Mrs. Collins said, glancing between them, and Emma noticed her smile soften slightly. You see, Emma, these kids come from various backgrounds. Some have faced challenges we can't even imagine. They need someone who knows how to connect with them, someone who understands their struggles and can uplift them. Emma could feel the conviction in those words resonating deep within her. She had always yearned for a chance to use her voice, to empower others. The community center was a hub of potential, and now she had a chance to step into a role where she could make a difference. What kind of workshops do you think would resonate most? Mrs. Collins asked, breaking through Emma's thoughts. Her heart raced as the possibilities unfolded insidiously in her mind. She envisioned kids creating art, expressing themselves through painting, music, and theater. But she marveled at the sight of children running together, laughter echoing in the air, participating in sports that ignited their passions. I think maybe a mix of creative arts and physical activity. Something like an arts and sports festival at the end of summer could showcase everything we do, she suggested, her voice gaining confidence with each word. That is a brilliant idea. Lucas interjected, his enthusiasm bubbling over. We could have local artists come in, set up workshops, and even invite coaches from nearby teams to lead some sessions. Emma felt the strength of the shared vision take root, and a spark ignited in her. Right. And we could involve the parents in the process, have them join in the fun. It's about creating a community. Mrs. Collins nodded, her expression shifting from authority to appreciation. That's exactly the kind of thinking that will bring this program to life. I want you to start drafting a plan, including the logistics and any resources you might need. Okay, Emma breathed out, absorbing the rush of excitement and still battling her fear. What if I falter? What happens if I can't hold everyone together? Emma, Mrs. Collins leaned in, her voice firm yet kind. You won't be alone in this. You have Lucas, Ethan, and a whole community cheering for you. That makes all the difference. Just remember, it's about giving your best. Some days will be tougher than others, but that's how we grow. Emma searched Mrs. Collins' encouraging eyes and let the words sink in. It felt like she was on the verge of discovering something life-changing. She could hear the echo of their conversation blended with the laughter of kids in the park, and it filled her with resolve. We can do this. I can do this, she finally declared, almost to herself. Absolutely, Ethan said, pride flickering in his eyes. As they began to discuss ideas, Emma felt the energy shift, weaving together their hopes and dreams in that small circle. Each moment dripped with potential after their talk. Ideas buzzed in Emma's head like fireflies. With every brainstorming session, she realized these kids weren't just going to find their passions. They would ignite something inside themselves they didn't even know existed. But just as doubt tried to creep back in, she noticed Mrs. Collins scribbling furiously. The sudden thought hit her. What if she has other plans? Deep down, Emma sensed this was far more than just a chance at summer workshops. It was a test. Is this truly the right path for me? She wondered quietly. While Mrs. Collins talked logistics, Emma determined to stay engaged. There was so much at stake, and she couldn't let her fears pull her away from what could become the most transformative summer of her life. In that moment, the question lingered. Would this summer program become the catalyst for her self-discovery, or was it just another chance that would slip through her fingers? The next morning, Emma woke up to the bright sun streaming through her window, illuminating her cluttered room. The echoes of last night still lingered in her mind. Ideas danced around her thoughts like leaves caught in a lively wind. With a resolve she hadn't felt in a long time, she grabbed her notebook and a pen, ready to map out the visions that sparkled in her heart. Outside, children's laughter floated through the air. Emma felt a buzz of energy course through her as she made her way to the community center, eager to work on her plan. As she arrived, the doors opened to a world that thrummed with excitement. There were kids already playing in the park, their joyful screams ringing out like music. It filled her with a sense of purpose. Inside, Mrs. Collins was at her desk, flipping through papers. Good morning, Emma. Ready to get to work? She asked, looking up with enthusiasm that mirrored Emma's. I am. I've been thinking a lot about the workshops, Emma said, her voice steadying with newfound confidence. Great. What do you have in mind? Mrs. Collins leaned in, ready to listen. Emma launched into her ideas, her words tumbling out with excitement. We could have art sessions focused on self-expression. Maybe workshops where the kids can create sculptures or murals that reflect who they are. And for sports, we could set up a mini-Olympics to include kids of all skill levels. Mrs. Collins nodded, a proud smile spreading across her face. I can already see how passionate you are about this. Are you thinking of a theme to tie it all together? Emma mused for a moment, her thoughts swirling. What if we use Discover Your Voice as our theme? It matches the art and sports, but it's also about finding out who they truly are inside. That's beautiful, Mrs. Collins said, her eyes wide with appreciation. It gives every workshop a purpose. Just as they were diving deeper into their brainstorming, Ethan walked in with Lucas. Their energy filled the room like sunlight pouring in. We heard the good news. How's the workshop planning going? Ethan asked, flashing a grin. Emma just suggested a theme. Discover Your Voice, Mrs. Collins replied, her pride evident. Wow, that is awesome. Lucas exclaimed. I can definitely help with the sports side. I can reach out to the local teams if you want. A small spark of joy lit up Emma's chest. The team was forming, and the anxiety she felt before started to melt away. Yes, that would be perfect. And I can pull in some local artists for the art sessions as they collaborated. Enthusiasm bubbled over. Ideas soared. Laughter permeated the air, and suddenly the daunting task before them felt attainable. For the first time, the vision seemed like a shared mission, bonding them together in a common goal. But as they finalized their ideas, a shadow crossed Emma's mind. What if things didn't go as planned? What if the kids didn't respond to her? A flicker of doubt threatened to extinguish her excitement. Hey, you okay? Ethan's voice pulled her back. He noticed her thoughtful expression. Yeah, just thinking. It's a lot of responsibility. What if I fail? She confessed, her heart racing slightly. Mrs. Collins stepped forward. Failure is a part of growth, Emma. What matters is what we learn from it. You've inspired so much today already. Remember, you're not carrying this alone. Emma took a deep breath, letting those words settle. It was a comfort to know she had their support, but deep down, she felt the weight of this chance. It was more than just a workshop, it was a chance to step into her own power. Just then, a group of excited kids burst through the door, looking for a place to play. Their eyes sparkled with anticipation, and just like that, Emma felt a shift. This wasn't just about her. It was about them together. They would inspire one another. Okay, everyone, let us get started, she called, the enthusiasm spilling from her. The kids cheered, and as Emma began to lead them, a sense of freedom enveloped her. Yet, in the corner of her mind, questions lurked. Would she be able to rise to the occasion? Could she truly make an impact in their lives? With every laugh and cheer around her, she reminded herself. This was just the beginning, but what lay ahead still felt uncertain, and Emma couldn't shake off the thought would she find her own voice along the way. As summer pushed on, the community program flourished despite the initial doubts. Kids flocked to the community center, eager to engage with Emma and explore their budding interests in the arts and sports. It was like a kaleidoscope of talent and excitement, each workshop bursting with colors and laughter. Emma threw herself into her role, spending her mornings brainstorming with the artists and the afternoons with local sports coaches. She felt invigorated as children discovered new skills they learned to wield paintbrushes, scoring goals, and most importantly, finding their own voices. Each child was like a little ember waiting for the spark to ignite, and Emma felt honored to be the one guiding them. It was during a particularly vibrant painting workshop that the shift within Emma became most apparent. The kids worked with messy hands, fingertips splattered with colors as they created their masterpieces. Emma strolled around, taking in the joy radiating from each creation, every brushstroke a push towards self-discovery. Hey, look at mine, Lucas shouted, waving his arms excitedly. He held up a canvas, his eyes shining with pride. It was a whirlwind of colors, but more importantly, it told a story, a mix of emotions and fears, dreams and insecurities. This is me. He beamed. Emma's heart soared. It's incredible. You've captured so much, she encouraged, and Lucas's grin widened. He caught on quickly, inspired by the new surroundings and the freedom she promoted, embodying the very message they strived to share. Emma, came a chorus of voices. The kids had gathered around her, clutching their finished artworks, their eyes wide with hope. Can we showcase them? Like a real art show? A surge of determination welled in Emma. Absolutely. We'll set it up right here in the center. Everyone's invited, parents, teachers, everyone. The kids erupted into cheers, and soaking in their excitement filled Emma with a sense of fulfillment. As she organized the event, she realized how far she'd come. The judgments she once feared seemed to melt away. She had transformed from a single mother burdened with self-doubt to empowered leader, inspiring young hearts. As fate would have it, the day of the showcase arrived. The community center buzzed with energy. Parents and townspeople filled the room, admiration coloring their faces. Emma stood in front of the kids, hearts swelling with pride as they prepared to present their creations. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for being here today to support our young artists, Emma announced, her voice steady and filled with warmth. Amidst the crowd, she caught sight of Margaret, arms crossed, but her expression was thoughtful. Change was slowly unveiling itself, one by one. The children shared their stories behind the paintings. Emma watched as they confidently expressed themselves, sharing dreams and aspirations. The cheers and claps filled the space, breaking the silence that had once weighed so heavily on Emma's heart. And then it happened. Emma felt a swell of tears starting. She was overwhelmed. These kids had opened up to the world, and, in turn, she had embraced her own transgressions. By the end, as applause rang out, Margaret approached. "You did a good job, Emma." The compliment was simple, yet profound. Emma could see the shift in Margaret's demeanor, a new understanding appearing in her eyes. "Thank you, Margaret. I couldn't have done it without their inspiration." The sincerity hung in the air between them, a bridge that once felt insurmountable. As the night wrapped up, kids gathered around Emma, their faces flushed with excitement. "Can we do it again next month?" Lucas asked, eyes sparkling. Emma beamed, "Of course. We'll keep this going. Next time, we'll go bigger." With that promise, Emma understood she was building something lasting with the community, something that would transform lives beyond just that summer. She had become not only a mentor but a beacon of hope and confidence for these kids, showing them that they were capable of achieving anything they set their minds to. As Emma walked home that night, the heavy weight of uncertainty had finally lifted, replaced with immense pride and fulfillment. She had found her voice and shared it with others, nurturing their dreams while embracing her own. Emma smiled into the warm twilight, knowing this was just the beginning of many great things to come. Now was the moment to keep pushing, not just for herself, but for the vibrant community she would continue to inspire. And this is your moment too. Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. Comment your reactions and feelings about the ending. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. You need to subscribe now, and it's time to show your support. Don't wait, not even one more second to share. Only true fans understand the importance of supporting the channel through these actions.